Welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach when working with clients. I'm your host, Nicole Aucoin, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of The Healthy Kids Cookbook, 100% kid-approved recipes the entire family will love. You can find it on Amazon or grab the link in the show notes. In this podcast, we will be teaching you how to take one step at a time to become the healthiest version of yourself. Today, I'm so excited to be talking about two of my favorite things, nutrition and CrossFit, and how, more importantly, it impacts your health. Recently, Eric Rosa bought the company and he released a new mission statement. CrossFit is to be the world's leading platform for health, happiness, and performance. Notice that performance isn't first. Although most people think about CrossFit, they think of performance first. The first thing that's said is health. That's right. In this episode, Amanda Haar and I discuss exactly how CrossFit, nutrition, and your health all tie together. One thing that you learn in your CrossFit Level 1 is something called the Sickness, Wellness, Fitness Continuum. And today we talk about what that really means and the link between CrossFit, nutrition, your health, and my personal passion, disease prevention. Most people come to a gym and they are looking to lose weight. But what happens when you lose that weight? Data shows that 2/3 of people will regain the weight they worked so hard to lose. Why? Well, I would submit to you it's because they're not connecting the dots between what you do today and how it affects your health tomorrow. Setting a weight loss goal is great, but what is the end goal? Are you looking to fight chronic disease? Are you looking to prevent disease? Are you looking to be a better example for your kids? Are you looking to increase performance outside of just the gym? Are you looking to be a better and more productive worker? Are you looking to have increased energy? What are the end goals? When you have those in mind and it's beyond just the weight loss, your results are going to be so much better. Every decision you make turns into those habits that you have every day. And those habits turn into your routine. And your routine is your lifestyle. If you're looking to become the healthiest version of yourself and be on the farthest right side in this sickness, wellness, fitness continuum to be the healthiest version of yourself, we have to prioritize our health in everything that we do. We will get to this episode right after this message. First, I want to say thank you to all of our listeners who are giving us feedback. Thank you for screenshotting these episodes, tagging us so that we can reshare them. If you are loving this episode, please don't forget to subscribe and rate and review this podcast so that it reaches more people. Also, you never know who could use some words of encouragement. So take a screenshot, tag us on Healthy Steps Nutrition, or tag me personally at Nicole_RD_HSN. All right, let's get to this episode on CrossFit, nutrition, and your health. Amanda, welcome back to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast.
Thanks so much for having me again, Nicole.
I'm excited to talk today. Today we are talking about CrossFit, nutrition, and health. And you have a unique perspective because when we hired you, I can almost guarantee you had never stepped foot into a CrossFit gym.
Never. All I knew about CrossFit was that my sister, who was a Marine, had done CrossFit, and my other sister had done CrossFit for like 2 months of her life. So I thought of it as kind of just this like military, really intense type of intimidating thing.
Okay, so you send over your resume. We meet for the first time. You come into the gym and you're like, okay, I don't see. Did you think people flip tires? Because that's what I thought. I thought tire flipping is what they do at CrossFit.
Yeah, and that's actually what one of my sisters had told me. Like, I remember her saying, yeah, we're flipping huge tires and it's this really intense thing. So it was really cool to come in and talk with you guys and see that people of all fitness levels are coming into CrossFit. And that kind of really like started changing my thinking pattern about that. And also having experience as an athlete, like I've done almost all the sports in my life. And really when I come to there, I really think of like, this is really cool. This is like a basketball / volleyball / track practice all put into one. So it really kind of takes you back to a fun time in your life.
That's awesome. So you come in, and I don't think we had a class going on the first time, but I don't remember. And I remember sitting down with you, and you just had this bubbly personality, and you were just so nice and caring. And I just knew your heart was exactly what I wanted for our team. So I remember, like, as soon as you left, I texted Jason. I was like, okay, we have to have her. And then you came back for another interview because we had to make it official with the second interview. And then you started on board. And actually, I haven't told you this in person, but congratulations. It's been a year and a half.
Yes.
It's been a year and a half since you've been on the team, and you are such an amazing dietitian. And I think what's cool when we talk about CrossFit, and there's this health continuum that CrossFit talks about a lot, and it's sickness on one side, fitness on the other, and then at the top of this like rainbow looking thing, it's wellness. And what you bring a perspective in from functional medicine and a different integrative medicine and nutrition is, hey, to get to the fitness side or even get to wellness if you are sick, you have to incorporate nutrition into your daily habits and daily practice.
Definitely. And I love kind of looking at that continuum as, we think of wellness usually as kind of the optimal thing that we're striving for. But a lot of times our society really sees wellness as we're just not sick. So with this continuum, we're seeing how we can be stronger, how we can optimize how we feel, not just feel okay throughout the day and not sick, but really feeling good throughout the day and having good energy levels, even at that afternoon time when we usually have that slump.
Absolutely. So, I think from a practical perspective, if you're as far as possible away from the sickness side, it's going to be harder and longer for you to get to the sickness side. So why not invest your time and energy into becoming the best version of yourself through exercise, through nutrition, through quality sleep, through stress management, all the aspects that go into all these health indicators that put you at wherever you are on this continuum. Either you're sick in the wellness side or on the fitness side.
Yeah. And we hear, of course, with everything going on in the world today, like we hear people are healthy. Well, how healthy are we? Are we just on that border of we're doing a lot of things right, but we're not sleeping much, or we're eating right, but we're super stressed out all the time? So I love how this kind of thinks about like all the things and putting them all together to have that balance. And honestly, that's something I talk about a lot with clients is how can we have balance in our life? Because when one thing takes over, a lot of times the other parts of our wellness suffer. So in kind of that optimal range of fitness where we're strong, we're healthy in mind and body, and we're taking care of ourselves as well.
Absolutely. People might be thinking like, okay, what are the indicators that would put me on the sickness side or the fitness side or in wellness? Some of those indicators might be your blood pressure, your body fat percentage, your triglyceride levels, your cholesterol, A1C, muscle mass, all these things that we want to be in a normal range. And the truth is chronic disease, like more people are dealing with chronic disease than we would ever know. The stats show that 60% of people in the US have at least one chronic disease, and 40% have two or more chronic diseases. And chronic disease is defined as a disease or a condition that causes you to be under the care of a physician for over the course of a year. So let's say you have high blood pressure and you can't get it down for over the course of a year, you are considered in that population of 60% who has one chronic disease. The truth is all of these things end up coming together, which gets our population to be, as sick as most people are, trying and struggling with so many different chronic diseases. Either they're borderline diabetic or they have diabetes or high cholesterol or high blood pressure that is going to put them at risk to be super, super sick. And I think the other problem is we end up just covering up our healthcare system is really a sick care system where we just cover it up with more pills and medications that have side effects.
You hit the nail on the head, Nicole. If we could provide more prevention in our healthcare system or even helping provide those tools for people to go from that sick realm back to the wellness realm, how different this story would be in our country right now. And this makes me think of one client that I've been working with for quite some time now. And she came to us because she wanted to lower her cholesterol. She wanted to lower her blood sugar levels. She was in the pre-diabetic range and her cholesterol was high. And so the doctor said, okay, you have 3 to 6 months to get these levels back in range. Otherwise, we're going to put you on a medication. And she did not want to go that path. So it's been really cool to see her journey. She went from a pre-diabetic A1C to a normal range of hemoglobin A1C, which measures your blood sugar levels. So she could be going that direction towards sickness. A lot of people, when they have prediabetes, they end up having full-blown diabetes, but she went the other direction because she took these steps for wellness. And her cholesterol levels have decreased, by like 23 points over 3 months. It's amazing to see these changes because what we see a lot of times when someone gets on a medication, then there are sometimes side effects from that medication that require another medication, and then you feel sick in other ways. So if we can, stop that before it all happens, there's just so much wellness that comes.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that she decided to take that step and ask for help because, I think that's the toughest step for so many people. Like you feel embarrassed to ask for help or you feel like, hey, it's gone too far and it's too late for me. I'm telling you right now, if you are breathing, it is not too late. Like you can do it. And goodness, you just shared a story of your client. I have a client, and I'm actually going to have him on the podcast because his story is so inspiring. He actually is a physician. And at one point in February of this year, 2021, so it is September 27th right now when we're recording this. So about 8 months ago, he was on his deathbed. He was in the hospital in ICU and he was almost 400 pounds and they couldn't move him. And they said, you're going to hospice and you're not going to make it. He was drinking a little bit too much and his eating obviously not the right things, not exercising, really focused on work. And he was like, what are you working for at that point? Like he had no quality of life. And he looked at the doctors and was like, this isn't how I'm writing the story. And I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to run a triathlon. And he told me when he first called to ask for help, he's like, they laughed at me. And he's like, I don't think they trusted me, but I'm telling you, I'm the most motivated person. And I completely changed. And the guy's lost over 170 pounds in like 7 months, and not by starving himself. Like he's eating a ton of food. He's eating quality food. He went from not being able to like do anything, just laying in bed, to now he's bike riding 60 miles a day. He's training for an Ironman. Like the guy is more active now. Like he in 9 months went from the epitome of sick to the epitome of fitness. And he actually just got his blood work done recently and everything's within normal range. And I ask him all the time, I'm like, man, how are you feeling? He goes, Nicole, I've never felt better.
Wow. That's such a perfect illustration of it's never too late to make changes.
It's not. And, I think so many people go into a CrossFit gym and they go back to what you said at the beginning, like, oh, it's not for me or it's too much. And I'm here to tell you that every gym, and try out different gyms because every gym is run independently of each other, but you can scale anything. Yes, there are some gyms that are more competitive. There are some gyms that are more family oriented. Amanda, you jump into some CrossFit classes with not a ton of experience exactly. And you're just fine because the coach is there guiding you every step of the way and you can scale and modify any movement to meet where you are at right now.
It is really fun. As an adult, like a lot of times we're mentally challenged and our patients might be challenged when we have families. But there's not many times in our life where we're learning new physical techniques or being challenged physically. And that's one of the things that I love when I jump into a CrossFit class, that I'm doing things that I might not push myself to do myself. Or I'm learning how to do a toe to bar.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Right. Yes.
What did you say before we started recording?
Toe ups.
Toe ups. the new name for toe to bar.
Yeah. And honestly, like throughout the whole class, so we did this, I think like 4 times. We did as many reps as possible. So I did it at least 4 times throughout the class. And every time it was swinging and I knew I wasn't doing it right. I'm like, this is supposed to be easier. They said, you're making it harder than it has to be. And finally, the last time that I did it, I got it right. And that was so exciting, just to learn some new skill and be able to physically accomplish something. It's really fun.
You push yourself harder than you would ever push yourself when working out alone is what I've found in a class. And with CrossFit specifically, there's expert coaches. They're guiding you every step of the way. So if you do push yourself a little bit too hard, they can be like, hey, Amanda, slow down a little bit, or hey, or the movement, let's do it this way instead of that way so that you don't get hurt. And when you find quality coaches and you find a place that can help support you and not just getting in better shape or losing weight with fitness, but can really help you get through this spectrum to become the best version of yourself and help get all of these chronic disease markers under control, like, man, you are setting yourself up for success. And really, it's not just about you, it's about the people around you. Now you're able to be there to support them longer. And if you have kids, like, wouldn't you want your kids to understand what healthy looks like because they model everything that you do?
Totally. Yep. That community is amazing. And I mean, I've been a member of a lot of different gyms over the years, and I've never seen community like that. And I think one thing that stands out to me personally, because I'm a very, social person, I look for connections with people, and sometimes you don't really get that at gyms. But even the question of the day at the beginning of the day, I think is so cool. Like the question yesterday was, how many hours do you sleep at night? Super simple, but it's something that really connects everyone. You get feedback, you kind of joke around. And I love that you're there for the positive social aspect as well as a really good workout.
I love the questions of the day because it gets us as coaches and owners to kind of hear a little bit more about what's going on about our clients. It's to us, it's not, okay, you're paying a membership and you're getting access to our gym. Like, we truly are invested in every single human that walks through our door or, is a part of our program virtually. And we want them to succeed. And if I don't know that someone's not sleeping at all because they're struggling with something, or I don't know that someone's, not able to handle their stress level, or they've got a lot of things going on, how am I going to be able to help them beyond, hey, good job during the workout today, or here's some cues to help you with the workout. But if we know that, it's a great way from a coaching standpoint to pull you aside later and be like, hey, you know how important sleep is. Like, how can we get you in a better position so that you set yourself up for success the next day and help you recover? Because I know you care about working out. I know you care about your performance in here. If we're not getting the optimal sleep, we're not going to be able to perform our best.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yep. And you think about less sleep means higher cortisol levels. When our cortisol levels go up, those are our stress hormone, which triggers more inflammation. And that's where we kind of start going further toward the sickness spectrum, even when we're working out, right? So it's like where we have to have all these things in place too. I think as far as, kind of thinking about physical activity, CrossFit, even going towards the fitness spectrum. I know I mentioned this to you earlier, but just being able to, if you have to stand on one leg to tie your shoes and you're not falling over because you have balance, because you have strength, it's not necessarily having to be, the most ripped person there or, really competitive. It's really just like functional things that you need to do in your life that it feels so good to be strong.
You bring up a really good point. It's not just about the appearance. There are so many people that don't even know what's going on the inside of their body. They don't know that their triglyceride levels are through the roof, or they're pre-diabetic because they don't get their blood work checked. And, I think one of the most eye-opening things Jason and I did was that levels test, right? Where we did that continuous glucose monitor experiment on our bodies, and we could see we are normal in regards to our A1C, and our blood sugar is normal, but we got to see exactly what happened when we ate certain foods and how our body recovered from that, and how sometimes it took way longer than it should have to recover from specific things. And those things are marketed as healthy.
And what was your biggest kind of takeaway from that experiment?
I think there were a couple. A question I always get asked is about acai bowls. And if you go to the store and you get unsweetened acai, I think that's great, right? Like, it's a fruit, it doesn't have a ton of sugar. But when you go to a store or a juice place and you get an acai bowl, when they make the acai, it tastes very different than unsweetened acai because they add a ton of sugar in it. So there's already sugar added to the purple stuff, right? And then they add honey and agave and a ton of fruit. And while fruit is good for you, it still has a lot of sugar, right? So you're adding more sugar on more sugar on more sugar. It caused my blood sugar to go up so drastically. The levels method and the system that we used, they rate foods. So based on how fast your blood sugar went up, how long it stayed up, and how long it took for it to go back down, The worst thing that I ate in 8 weeks was an acai bowl.
Wow.
And I even had ice cream one day.
Wow. And that is the epitome of something that's marketed as healthy, right? Like this is kind of like the healthy form of ice cream.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to hire a professional to understand so you're not tricked, so that you can get to this fitness side so much faster. I know for me, like I've invested in health coaches and mental health therapists and mentors and all these different people. It's the same thing like going to school, right? You have a teacher that helps you on your path. Like why not as adults, we invest in ourselves to ensure that we're on the right path, so we're not trying to figure it out and go a million different directions and never really get to where we want to be.
Definitely. And as adults, like you mentioned, we are pulled in a million different directions. So if one thing can be simplified for us, and that's the thing that helps us to live longer, better quality lives, then that's worth it, right? It's totally worth it.
Absolutely. All right. For our listeners, what's your one actionable tip for people who maybe are on the sickness side or maybe on like in the middle in the wellness side, but they're like, I need to get to fitness. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to show up for the best version of me for myself and for my kids and for my spouse and for my job, like all the things. What is your one actionable tip for those people?
Yeah. So, that's really just seeing what your lowest hanging fruit is. What is the thing that you do the most that you wish you didn't do? And take one just step on that. And of course, with Healthy Steps Nutrition, that's exactly how we work with our clients. We find what is the biggest problem area and literally just focus on that. And especially, the further we are towards the sickness spectrum, sometimes we feel like we have to do all the things in order to get further towards the fitness side of the spectrum. But many times that's not sustainable. So when we stick with one habit change, that's where we start to move our way up the spectrum. And that's why I love this spectrum concept, because sometimes people think, well, I'm a really unhealthy person or I'm a really well person, but it's all a scale, right? There's never this perfectly healthy person, nor the very sick person is basically dead, right? So we have a lot of room for improvement no matter where we're at. And we can always take just that one step forward.
I love that. I think that's a great actionable step. And I just want to clarify one thing as I'm thinking about this. And we're not saying that if you're fit, you're never going to get sick. Like there are crazy things that happen to people. And I'm not saying like, okay, never, but I can tell you from personal experience, like the reason I started Healthy Steps Nutrition almost 10 years ago now is because I wanted to help people be equipped with the tools to prevent disease, like live your best life and understand how to do that in a simplified way. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, let's take one step at a time. Let's be consistent with that one thing, because we know when we only focus on one thing, the chances of you maintaining that one thing for over a year, over 80%. Like you can do it if you focus on one thing at a time. So Amanda, thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing all things CrossFit, nutrition, and health with us today.
It's such a pleasure, Nicole. Thanks for having me.
I hope this episode opened your eyes about the impact that quality nutrition and fitness does to not only reach your performance goals, but help you achieve optimal health. Remember, your daily actions become your habits. Your habits become your routine, and your routine is your lifestyle. In this episode, we shared a few examples of some people that have truly changed their health and their life through the power of CrossFit or any type of fitness and nutrition. There are hundreds of people out there that have done amazing things, and we can go on for days with stories of people who have paired CrossFit, nutrition with the accountability and support of a coach. Most recently, we just interviewed Brent from CrossFit Brighton. He lost 100 pounds. I think the most impactful thing from that story is what he said at the end when he lost the weight and he went on a plane and was no longer having to ask for that seatbelt extender. He said that he was so much more confident and he just was so proud of himself from all the hard work that he had done. If you are looking for a CrossFit affiliate that utilizes the Healthy Steps nutrition coaching methods, you can go to hireanutritioncoach.com and find a nutrition coach near you and a CrossFit affiliate that implements our nutrition program near you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and please don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss another episode again. We'll see you back here next week.